Welcome everyone. This is Muhammad Ali from IEEE Bahrain, and today we will talk about the new norms of technology. First, we want to welcome our speaker, Mr. Abdulla Hamed, the managing partner at INTERMID and chief and executive director in INVESTATE Group, has over 20 years of professional experience in many fields, including and not limited to strategic planning, business development, and ICT. Welcome, Mr. Abdullah. You have the mic.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. And it's really interesting to be here today again with IEEE. For me, IEEE is always an interesting venue to share some practical thoughts on the basis of the day-to-day business that we go through. And it's, of course, I always look forward to have you guys in the market as colleagues and partners within the industry. The interesting part, which is very close to my heart, is the new norm 4.0, or we call it the new norm for technology. And if I may ask a small question, do you have any idea why I call it the new norm 4.0? Before I go and elaborate and explain in the next slide, please feel free to share with me your thoughts. You can even share it with me on the chat, or even if you want to use a mic, it depends on the host. The new norm 4.0.
I think it's related to the Industrial Revolution 4.0.
Exactly. Well said. It's the new Industrial Revolution, which the Industrial Revolution 4.0 is addressing the main key factors that made the change in the industrial movement. So in the past, we had the first Industrial Revolution, the second and the third, which was based on mechanical and electrical. But this time, it's actually combining every possible advanced technology that happened to us, and led by the digital transformation that happened in every industry, artificial intelligence, simulation and emulation that's happening in the virtual environment. And that definitely changed the whole structure and the whole scenario of running a business, or even designing, fabricating, or even getting things done. Without prolonging on this, I will go to my next slide. If we look at the focus area that we look at, that's the new norm that's happening today in the digital, or the new norm 4.0, or the industrial revolution, is basically the national regulation and the digital agendas. Every country now have moved from having their own digital agenda into a regional digital agenda. So we see some regions around the world are clubbing together, coming up with interconnected industries. Example, very simple example. We see that in the mobile industry, manufacturing of mobile, we see that certain countries develop the screens, other countries developing semiconductors. I will name them even. For example, Taiwan is doing the chips and semiconductors, whether at the same time China is manufacturing the hardware and the assembly of the machine, the device. We see countries like Korea manufacturing advanced digital screens. And we see also some other manufacturers like in Japan having certain technologies that are linking them. So if you look at it in the whole area, you will see that Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, China, Taiwan, they are all investing and putting together a kind of a regional ecosystem that brings that technology together. The same thing happening actually in other places in the world. So if we look at, for example, the connectivity, fiber optics or submarine cable, you can't have all of those things connected or advanced without having nodes or internet exchanges that are spreading all over a certain region. So without for example, without the cooperation with UAE or Oman or Italy or France, you will not see the internet coming with this higher regions and other areas. So the bottom line is every nation and every region is starting having a kind of a digital agenda to integrate their services together. Then a global digital business supply chain. The example that I just told you, if a company wants to produce a mobile phone or produce a computer or whatever, they will have to deal with lots of countries and different regions and different locations and different suppliers to put together all of that into one device or one machine. And that by itself is affecting also the price and the quality of the product. Of course, you can get better quality, lower price, with even better supply chain. The next one is I will talk about here is the single product global sources, the advantages and opportunities. Of course, the advantage of showing yourself as a supplier or as a producer for certain components will definitely make sure that you get part of the cake. So you will be part of that global economy. If you ignore and you don't do anything, and you think that you will be doing the whole 9 yards, then you're making a mistake. So every one of us need to think, how can I contribute into an international supply chain, create that or be part of that product creation? The best example I've seen it was when we went to Boeing and we discovered that Boeing is manufacturing so many components around the world, and then they ship it together to assemble the airplane. User experience and trends towards advanced digital business. We see now that the digital channels or connectivity is no more like the old-fashioned way. It is very advanced in terms of look and feel, experience. In fact, business is now conducted over video games, so you can actually watch video streaming or subscribe to a certain broadcasting channel through your video game, such as Sony PlayStation or what have you. So business model is changing. Shopping is happening now through your mobile, and ordering food is happening even from your car. The next is innovation versus complexity of a new rules of bringing innovation to the market. For example, we have a lots of ideas to bring innovation into the business. However, unfortunately, when we need to do innovative ideas or creative things, we end up having the problem of intellectual property, patenting the idea, registering it. And that's actually a challenge in innovation. Countries who are trying to be or take place or be part of the global innovation, they really pay serious attention to the patenting office, and as well as the intellectual property that's related to innovation. So that's also another challenge of complexity. If we look at what the technology or the new norm change into our lifestyle, if you now decided, if any one of you decide to buy something or order something or travel, want to buy a ticket, whatever you call it, if you go online and order whatever you need and you get it instantly done, then the deal is happening. If you go through a certain old-fashioned way and you say, I want to order this package or this service or whatever, and they tell you that it will take more than an hour to give you the final price or to get you a quotation, you will be talking to other suppliers. And guess what's happening? According to Harvard Business Review, the potential or the chances of getting the deal done is getting less 7 times in terms of chances rather than real time. And then if you tell the person, okay, sir, thank you very much for inquiring this solution or service. If you respond back to them within 24 hours, which is the next working day, there's a big potential that you get less chances of 60 times. So bottom line, do not delay responding back to your customers, which means that the only way you can have this is by having a fully integrated supply chain management, fully integrated ERP system that will be ready to respond back to your customers. So this is, again, a new norm that's happening in our life. Digital agendas, as you mentioned, should pay attention to inclusion, bringing everybody on board, affordability. If any country wants to have a digital solution, but it will cost more or will be more expensive, then it will never work for them. So the best way to have your agenda in terms of advancing technology, for example, part of digital agenda is digital education, e-education. If you don't do e-learning with an affordable way that everyone can afford it, afford buying a device, afford getting internet connection, afford getting the application or software that will be using it for that purpose, then it's not going to work. Accessibility, as we mentioned, you should have accessibility from everywhere. Reliability of connection should always be there, but that's the new norm now. We see it as part of our rights. As if we are having electricity and water, we need to have connection to the internet and to the digital channels. Adjustment, again, every culture and every society need to have their digital solutions, but not all solutions fit every community and every society. Every community and society have their own structure, needs, culture, and requirements, and affordability. So it depends on the purchasing power, it depends on the connectivity, it depends on the size of the country. Alhamdulillah, we are very lucky in Bahrain. We have a small island, so it is easy to interconnect the whole island in no time. Yani if لما قالوا 3G, 4G, 5G, it's easy to connect it. Whether if you look at countries which is having huge areas, mountains and deserts, it's very difficult to have the connection everywhere, or scattered islands. Digital supply channels is always working on transaction settlement, audit transparency, tracking, and so on. If you can, or Bahrain, or even us as new movers or comers to the market, manage to offer those facilities and services to the market, definitely you will be part of this kind of business or income. And the same thing, global sourcing framework. Basically, I'm sure that some of you might think of producing their own products or services or manufacture. Let's not go for hardware manufacturing, but even software, coding, programming, whatever. You will always find that if you just wait for that magical person who's going to come with a solution for you to develop your software, you might not find it, but you can easily source multiple APIs from different markets and have freelancers and individuals doing it for you at a fraction of the price. Economic and social impact, of course, we are seeing that, it's always, the more we see advancement in technology, the more we see advancements in lifestyle and business. Example, I was actually reading an article talking about what made Tata company, which is the car manufacturers in India, makes so much money in very short span of 10 years, which made them actually go and invest in buying the top one of, or two actually, of the top brands, which is Range Rover and Jaguar. Range Rover, as you know, Range Rover and Jaguar is actually owned by Tata Motors, which is basically the Tata Indian car manufacturing company. So when they checked with them, how you manage guys to do all of this, they say actually it's the economic and social impact that happened, that changed the culture. So more than 10 years ago, or even 20 years ago, Indians started learning on how to do software coding and programming, and they managed to turn the whole world heads towards India. So when you talk about software engineer or programmer, India. Software company, India. And that actually made international companies open branches over there, recruit Indians and train Indians as they were affordable at that time. What happened today? All those people who were like, low level or low standards turned to be programmers, started getting higher pay. And the first thing they do is to decide not to ride a bicycle or motorbike, but to buy a car. The option was there. The answer was Tata was giving affordable cars. They started buying Tata cars. And what happened is it just boosted the cash into the company. And it made that company decide to buy a bigger brand and invest even in a bigger markets. So never underestimate that when you start moving towards those kind of industries, the economy even will be impacted in a very positive way, locally, regionally, and globally. Global source as well, as we talked about it. And then, a sector that you can do applications. If you are looking for opportunities or areas that you can look at it in the new norm of the digital transformation, you have areas like international transactions, trade, food safety, suppliers, retailers, sector services, intellectual property, as we say, IPR, healthcare, oil and gas, real estate, humanitarian aid, insurance, travel, media, games, cybersecurity, and Internet of Things, which is again another big area that we can talk about. For us, if we want to do any idea or see how it will work, very simple. Create your simple service or idea that you want to do it. Craft your niche marketplace. Try to target certain area or marketplace that you can offer your services to them. Become a niche leading authority within that area. So anyone ask a question about how to do this thing in that area, you will be the one who's answering them. Be very specific and relevant to your area. Never carry multiple hats. Always focus in your area more and more until you become so disciplined and expert into that area. Then next is just copy and paste and repeat what you're doing into different industries and sectors. And you will be surprised that business will just come to you. One of the things that I always look at is user experience. And with user experience, if you guys are coming up with solutions or products, always enrich that experience so people get so excited about it. Another thing, guys who are developing applications or web applications, always come up with like something having the wow factor. So you impress your clients and the people who are users would be so excited about it. Where to start, how to do it, the sky is the limit. You have so many sectors, so many areas. Just see wherever you can see or spot a problem with them, try to come up with a solution for them and just offer it to them, offer them a solution. And that will make it easy for you. We at our organization always have this concept, which is, we call it the boomerang approach. You know the boomerang, the Australian boomerang? Well, what we do is basically always think of spin your ideas globally, test it on a global market, see how it will be successful, and then, the surprise is you will be on a high demand local concept, which is, we call it the lead approach. Try to locate your idea, evaluate the possible solutions, assess what you're doing, and then define a solution for them. And that, as I said to you earlier, will be your unique, special solution. It's always the message that I say to everybody: be ready to change the way your business operates, because if you don't change it, your business will get out of them. Okay. I thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm ready for any question if you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. If there is any question, you're welcome to raise your hand. I believe everything is clear. Thank you again, Mr. Abdullah, for the very informative presentation and your efforts.
Thank you,
For
dear.
the attendees, you can find the event recorded on our channel, IEEE UOB. Join us this Saturday for the last event on our series, where Engineer Tasneem will talk about Global Navigation Satellite System Revolution, and Amin Al-Tajer, CEO of InfiniteWare, will present on why decentralization matters. Thank you again, and hope to see you on Saturday.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.